You can clap better than that.
Louder than that?
Yeah.
All right. That's still kind of quiet.
That's good.
What's up, guys? We are here for the third ever Newsic Discovery Series and our first ever in person with Luke Collins. We're here in Long Beach, California. How we doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing good. Should we talk about the glasses? I feel like we should talk about the
We should probably touch base on the
glasses.
glasses.
I never
yeah.
wanted to be like a glasses interview guy. We didn't even actually talk about this, but my eyes get really dry. Like these are out of necessity. Like I
Really?
can't. I couldn't keep my eyes open right now without them. I don't make enough tears. And so anytime the weather kind of changes, or I think I was looking at my phone too much this week, and so it just get like really, really red and bothered. Like any bacteria doesn't get flushed out.
Do people ever think you're a little crazy because if you don't cry over something, you don't produce
No, I
tears?
cry.
Okay,
I cry fine. But it's like our tear ducts are still doing stuff, even when we're not crying. They're like flushing stuff out.
You actually made me nervous when you walked in. I realized that I didn't have any sunglasses on, and I felt like that might have been part of the scenario for being outside. And so it made me a little nervous.
You're kind of taking it right on the chin.
I'm just wearing it. I'm gonna keep wearing it for the whole interview.
Okay.
But thank you for being here. Really stoked to have you, man. Very, very small world that brought us here. Very, very intertwined group of people that led us to this point. So
yeah,
it's really cool.
But it was still just on Instagram, right?
Yeah, I was just scrolling on Instagram. I came across a reel, and it was actually a part of your younger music video.
Okay.
And so I messaged you, and whenever somebody doesn't follow you back, which you hadn't followed me back yet, so it goes to your general mailbox.
Yep.
And so then I went back a couple of days later, and I noticed that you obviously followed Hannah, and so I said, hey, do you know Luke Collins? And she's like, we went to high school together, and it's what a small world. And so that's what led us here. It was awesome.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
It's amazing.
But tell us a story about how Luke Collins came to be Luke Collins. You know, what led you to where you're at right now with music?
Amazing. Yeah. Well, it started kind of here. We're in Long Beach right now. And I grew up just down the road in Sunset Beach. And I started playing music super, super early. Actually, it's funny. In the younger music video, there's a ton of like direct references. Kind of the first thing I actually did as in music was literally just pull all the pots and pans out of my parents' kitchen and like set them up around me like a drum set and just bang on that for like hours. And so yeah, it was always like at a super young age, kind of really drawn to that. I have kind of like some music in my extended family and some cousins that have been in bands, and my grandma's a piano teacher, and so it was always just kind of like inevitable that I would end up doing some sort of music in some capacity. But it kind of started early. Started playing violin, and kind of grew from there. I was an orchestra kid, kind of growing up.
Okay.
Until around high school, I picked up guitar, mainly for attention.
Because all the girls love the guitar, you know?
Yeah, I was that guy. I was growing up in Southern California, in like, the like late aughts, the early teens, and it was like peak Jason Mraz, Jack Johnson, like John Mayer era, and I was like, yeah, the coolest thing I could do in the world is like sit in some girl's bedroom and play a Jason Mraz cover.
Singer Sweet Nothings.
Yeah, with like all of her friends there too. Clearly, it was never a one-on-one thing. Hannah probably, yeah. There's probably a handful of people from high school that could recall some probably pretty cringy nights from that. But yeah, I kind of kept going through that. I played viola in college. I got a degree in viola performance, and then promptly just like stopped doing anything musical right after graduation.
What was that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I still kind of don't know. I think there was like honestly a good bit of fear. I was really sensing or like searching for some stability, and kind of being in. There's a lot of things about college and studying classical music that can be a little jarring and a little tough, and it's something that demands excellence and demands precision and demands a lot a level of dedication that I just never. I knew I never gave. Even going into college, like I felt kind of lucky getting into a program because I knew that I was kind of like not in it like other people in that world are into it, and I respect it, but it's just like not how I approach or engage music, which is a much kind of just like looser, kind of less on.
Different side of your brain almost.
It's a different,
Yeah.
almost, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I also just like, I don't know. My teacher, she was so good in college, my like private instructor, but she was also like 35, and there's only like a handful of violists that work in LA, and I was like, well, I'm never gonna be better than Alma, and she's gonna be working basically my entire life, so how am I ever gonna get work as a violist in this town? If I'm just not, I'm gonna have to beat her. Like, no, that's not gonna happen. Yeah. And I think there was a lot of reasons. Like, there's a lot that culminated into, and just kind of wanting to seek a little financial stability, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, save some money, kind of find myself, and have some space to find myself out of, having grown up around Los Angeles. Got a chance to kind of leave a little bit. I went to San Francisco, not too far, but yeah, it was a nice time to just like really put my feet kind of firmly somewhere.
Yeah, I got
on
you.
my own for a while.
So in seeking that stability, what was the tipping point that made you want to take on music full time and actually just make that leap into being Luke Collins the artist? What was that final push for you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it took a while. Like I was up there for years, kind of working away, and then slowly kind of veering back towards music. So it started, I think I like joined a community orchestra again and like did a couple concerts with them, and then there was a couple really pivotal moments. One was one of my good friends, Eric Hirschhorn. He's a saxophone player. We've played together since high school, like literally busking on street corners and stuff like that. Like there's videos of us just like playing saxophone and guitar, just like with my guitar case out on the corner. And we'd always talk about like wanting to play music and wanting to perform music specifically, like being live performers was like the dream. And we were like in a band in high school, and Eric is now, huge throughout the reggae scene. He plays with mostly this band called Revolution, and has been just like around the world playing music, playing some of the most iconic venues in the country, and was actually in town for Outside Lands, the festival. They were playing Outside Lands that night, and kind of came to my apartment and was just like, what are you doing?
He's like, dude, pull the trigger.
Yeah, he's like, why are you doing this? And I was like, I don't really know. And he kind of pulled me by the arm. I think he literally said, he's like, you're gonna make your music and I'm gonna help you. And yeah, there's a pretty straight line from like that conversation to kind of here, like this moment. And so that was a huge, like, having people kind of step in and say, like, just remind me where I had come from, and that, like, what I was doing at the time was a diversion or kind of like a fun little excursion, but not like myself.
Yeah. Reminds you of your full potential and what you, go be happy. Do what you're best at. Go make music. Yeah.
So Eric was huge in that, and another friend from high school, funny enough, Jackie Young. She's a songwriter in LA. She's like, it's like full-time songwriting grind, has a publisher, just like every day goes to a studio, goes into a session and writes songs. And she had been doing that. We had been kind of playing in a band together right after college, right after high school, kind of in Southern California. We were doing some gigs and it was super fun. While I was still in college, like while we were all still in college, and she just kept pushing until she was finally in this great spot of like, you know, being in the industry, being there, and yeah, what like I kind of called her up and I was like, I'm trying to get back into things, and she was just super helpful and kind of let me come down and crash some sessions, and then put me in touch with some producers, and really kind of facilitated a side of the music industry that I never would have been able to like find on my own.
Yeah.
Really kind of facilitated that kind of like studio songwriting session type vibe.
The more like business side of the creative and that network of people as well.
Exactly. Yeah. But also the kind of just like it's a very different, like I love playing, you know, like jamming in a garage with my friends. That's always going to be like the first love. But like in the very kind of almost mechanized process of like, we have 4 hours in this room with these 3 people and we're going to produce a song in that time period, I think has its flaws. Now that I've been in it for a couple of years, but at the time was just like infatuated. I was like, you mean this is like, and I did it, and it only took 4 hours. Like I've been trying to make a song that sounds like this for my entire life.
Yeah.
And we just did it in 4 hours. Like this is crazy.
That's insane. How do we do that?
And granted, I still kind of had to be, I don't know, a stickler about. I don't know. It took me like 3 years to release those songs, right? And I like reproduced them and I remixed them, and you know, so I still kind of exerted that level of slow burn that I think a lot of my music has.
Yep. And before we move on, I want to make sure we give a little shout out to Jackie for showing you that side of the music industry. But when it comes to, you kind of mentioned it, but like when it comes to like writing your songs, what's your process like? I mean, is it music first and then add lyrics? Is it lyrics first and then add music? What's that look like for you?
Totally. It changes a lot. In, you know, studio, in like session writing, when you're like setting up, first of all, I love collaboration. There's a few songs that I've been writing lately that have been kind of just me, that I've kind of felt like are finished without taking them to anybody. Okay. But I'm huge on it bringing in people into as many parts of the process as possible. So it's always kind of a collaborative thing. It's usually setting up a session with somebody, and I'll usually come in just with like an idea. I think it's always nice to come in with like a kind of general subject matter and like a general, for lack of a better term, vibe. You know, which just means like tempo and key. Right. It's like
it's a starting point.
You know, it's like, okay, there's a song that's not out yet, right? It's called Last Time, and it was just kind of, that was actually a line about that we came up with later, but like, it was just kind of like, I kind of want to like, it's this song about just like really finally letting go after like trying at something for a long time, or specifically a relationship, and I kind of had like just this like basic little patch that I brought in, you know, like I'll try to bring in like a sound, and then kind of let the process go from there. Like kind of the collaboration and how other people react to that is huge. And then everybody kind of falls into place and somebody starts producing something out, and then, you know, you duck into another room and start writing some more lyrics. And sometimes Last Time is one of my favorite songs I've ever kind of written, and it came together in 30 minutes.
That's awesome. That's when you know it's right. It's clicking.
A lot of other stuff lately. A lot of stuff lately has been. I keep a guitar in. I have like a little studio at the home. I keep a guitar just in an open tuning. In like most of my vocal range is around like E major, D major. So I keep a guitar just in open E tuning. So I don't have to think about chords, and I can just kind of think about, you know, what matches a melody or something, and that's most of my writing process. Is I'll have an idea for a line, and then I'll just kind of pick up that guitar and not have to think about really playing chords, but it's just kind of that kind of comes, and then kind of reverse engineer it, and then
Yeah.
like figure out a guitar riff for it later, or kind of build backwards once I've kind of gotten a solid lyric and melody that I like.
Absolutely. In your song "Younger," it says, "Let's do this now or never, just like when we were younger."
Yeah.
Was that one of your starting lyrics for that song, or tell us about the idea behind that song? What inspired that? You got a grin on right now, so I'm hoping it's really good.
Yeah, I Younger was I had gotten back. I was on a middle of a trip because Younger was written when I was still living in San Francisco, and I was trying to come down to LA as much as possible to kind of meet up with people for writing sessions. And so I'd set up this like weekend long session, but actually one of my like best friends was having their bachelor party. Best friends from like childhood was having their bachelor party, kind of like leading the weekend before. So I think it was like a week of sessions. And I'd kind of gotten off this plane from this bachelor party that was, I don't know, just like a lot of it. I was around a group of people that I'd grown up with that I hadn't been with in a while. And it was just that kind of, I don't know, like pure, free-flowing, fun, nostalgic kind of moment. You know, it was like very much a present-day thing. We were not in a city that we'd ever been in together. It was like a completely new environment, but it felt just like very comfortable and very homey, and definitely, you know, getting to see your friends kind of act a little silly and a little dumb,
just foolish, and you get to let go of all of those adult stressors and be with your boys and have a great time.
But yeah, it was specifically about just kind of like that. We really did feel like reconnecting with just kind of like a younger version of yourself that I feel like it's hard to get from like friends you make as an adult. It's like, for better or for worse, these people like know you at a level that a lot of people never will. A lot of your like closest day-to-day friends like still don't know that one thing you did in the 6th grade, for better or for worse. And yeah, it was just kind of a reaction. Like, this was a really fun moment that was also like very debaucherous, but somehow very pure. It's like my mom loves that song. She's like, oh, it's about like playing at the beach when you were little with your friends. I was like, no, it's actually about getting so drunk in Louisville, Kentucky. But like, if that's what it is to you, that's so great.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. Yeah. Everyone has it. I think that's probably the coolest part about the song, is that it takes you back to wherever that younger part of your life was, wherever that nostalgic moment was.
Yeah,
it's where it puts you. I mean, I remember listening to it. I could see myself. I was like in my hometown playing Little League baseball. Like, it was just this weird moment. I was like, wow, how cool is that, man? Like, it's taking everybody back to a certain time. So it's a really amazing song, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
That was I will say, finishing Younger, or like coming out of that session and kind of getting back to San Francisco, it was a matter of, COVID threw a wrench in the actual timing of it all, but I got home from San Francisco and within days was like, okay, I have to quit my job. Wow. I didn't actually quit my job, but I did start to try to move to LA kind of within a couple weeks. And thankfully I didn't quit my job until COVID started.
Then you went remote, I'm guessing.
I went remote. So that was honestly like a huge, like a strike of luck, big windfall to kind of just be able to be working remote, move to LA, just kind of quietly.
Have a little more free time.
And then kind of slowly, it was just kind of a waiting game of just kind of like, when do I think I can start playing shows again? And that's when I'm going to kind of walk away from this job.
Absolutely.
So it's been just about 2 years since I kind of fully went into this, and that's weird to say.
It's very recent, but it's a good, perfect time to ask you this. So you obviously just made this leap, just a few years ago. Somebody, there's an artist out there right now that might be listening that's in the same boat you were. They're not quite ready to make that leap to take on music full time. What would you tell somebody that was where you were 2-3 years ago, and like just in making that jump and being confident enough to make that move?
One thing I'll say is I was really lucky to kind of be able to make that decision on my own,
Mm-hmm.
right? I didn't have kind of anybody else that I had to kind of. I was single at the time. I was like had kind of some money saved up to where I could kind of fund a lot of this, just like pay rent and pay for studio fees.
Yeah.
And so that made it a lot simpler for me. But it was honestly just something that I fought against for so long, right? I moved, I got a different job, I tried to do community orchestra, I tried to do a bunch of stuff, and I finally just kind of came to the terms with like, I'm not gonna be able to not do this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to be able to get to the end of my life and have this question still hovering over my head about what if I just kind of gave it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And giving it a shot can look very different for a lot of people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is my version of it, right? Like,
Yeah.
being like getting myself closer to LA and kind of doing it more full time. But like, giving it a shot could just be, posting on TikTok. It could be,
Mm-hmm.
it could just be like playing at your local coffee shop.
Yep.
I think we like idealize and like idolize like a level of success and almost immediate success also
Mm-hmm.
within music and just within like our culture in general.
Yep.
And I think there's a lot of beauty and a lot of good art that comes out of making less good art for a long time and out of making not like taking time away from creating music was necessary to
Mhm.
making what I'm making now. I couldn't have made those songs when I was 20.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that like no song that anybody makes when they're in their teens or in their early 20s is bad, but it's just like for me,
Mm-hmm.
that was the process. That was what needed to happen.
Yep.
And I think, we're stuck into this big idea of like uniformity, and what it's a weird little thing, but like carve your own path and like feel comfortable in it, because that's the only thing. Though I have a lot, I'm lucky enough to be around a lot of creative people, a lot of
Mhm.
people that are much farther along their careers than I am, and a lot of people that are like at similar points in their careers. And something that I always fall back on is like, no amount of success is gonna make it easier to like yourself.
Yep.
That's something that like you're gonna have to
awesome.
figure out along the way.
Yep.
And you're gonna like that's something that's between like you and yourself and your art and how you interact with the world. But like, success is not going to be the changing factor into like, oh, all of a sudden this feels good.
Everything's better. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm so glad
Yeah.
you said that, because that's one of the biggest things I like to focus on, especially with music and interviewing, whether it be a rising artist or a creator or whatever it might be, is that fuck it mindset. Let's just do it. Let's make it happen. Yeah. Like, what do we have to lose? Like, just take your shot and go do it. And if nothing comes of it, then so be it.
Absolutely.
But at least when you turn 40 or 50, you look back and say, at least you can sit with yourself and know I gave it my all. I did what I needed to do and wanted to do, and I tried.
Yeah, and that's the point. Yeah, it's like I think breaking from an idea of success as outcome based
Mhm.
and success as process based.
Yep.
I am so thoroughly enjoying like the process of what's going on here, right? And sometimes when I'm like loading a van at 1:30 in the morning after a rehearsal, you start to go, it's like, am I enjoying? Is this
this
process?
fun?
Is this the process that I'm idolizing? But like, honestly, kind of, because I'm sitting here talking about it in an interview, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, I kind of did like that.
Yeah.
It was part of the like weird beauty of it all, and just thinking of success more as process based and way less as outcome based, because outcomes are never going to be, like I said, it's not.
Yep.
Those are moments. Those are pieces of paper. It's not what makes up reality.
Yeah, the instant success it's very few and far in between. It happens to people, but it's not likely. And so actually enjoying the process is what separates people from, in 5-10 years from now, actually being that artist that you wanted to be.
Yeah.
If you actually enjoying the hard parts of it, because everybody wants to start something, everybody wants to do something, but until you realize, holy shit, this is not as easy as I thought it would be. You have to actually enjoy the nitty gritty of whatever it is that you're doing. It's the most important part is the process.
Yeah.
Obviously, studying classical music, and now I know you play multiple instruments, but you brought your guitar, obviously. So
Yep.
I'm guessing,
Yeah.
is that your main instrument?
Yeah, mostly what I write on, what I perform on is guitar.
Okay.
Yeah.
What made you make the leap from the classical side? And I know you kind of mentioned it earlier, you kind of using almost that different side of your brain a little bit on the creative side from classical to what you're doing now. But what made you choose I know it's not really a specific genre, but what made you choose this type of music for Luke Collins?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it is about singing.
Mm-hmm.
I love playing guitar. I love playing violin. Having like an external instrument is something that's super, almost feels like otherworldly. Like kind of knowing how to impact something to make the sound that you want is beautiful and fun. And something like a violin that I've spent decades on, and I kind of know it like I know my own body is the coolest sensation.
Heck yeah.
But like the physical feeling of singing and the
emotion.
The emotion that you can put into that is just so fantastic. That's what I'm chasing. Anytime I'm playing an instrument, I'm chasing that just perfect expression of emotion. And I feel like voice is the best vehicle for that for me.
Yeah.
And so guitar honestly is just kind of a medium to sing more.
Yeah.
And so any type of thing that I can kind of sing over, that's kind of what I'm chasing. But I really, in terms of how I landed on this style of music, a lot of it is circumstance. A lot of it is just kind of who I'm collaborating with. But yeah, a lot of it's driven by my taste in all of that. Every single time, especially you'll write a song, but in terms of how I put together instrumentation and what I want to put in and pull out, it's all about how does this serve the emotion that we're trying to convey here, right? How do we have I think of it as a story. Do we have a narrative arc? Do we have an emotional arc? Is there a peak? Is there a decline? Are we starting too high, too long? Evoking kind of the emotion that I want a song to evoke out of me, and trying to make that as clear as possible for the listeners is always what I'm chasing. And I think a lot of the influences that I draw on are a lot of contemporary female pop. I think does just such an amazing job at evoking emotion. And then a lot of, I don't know, a lot of almost popular emo music from the mid-aughts as well, I think did a good job at
You're speaking my language.
Yeah, I just it has become kind of cheesy or trite over the years, but yeah.
But everybody still sings it when it comes on.
Yeah, but those earlier Fall Out Boy records, those Welcome to the Black Parade, I had a physical copy of,
So awesome.
That I would listen to actually on a CD player. I didn't need to, we had
there was
iPods
MP3
at the
players
time.
and,
But I for whatever reason had it on CD.
Did you have an OG Walkman?
Way back, yeah, when I was I was
good.
4, yeah. I recently found one in the bushes in Silver Lake.
Wow. Did it work?
It works, and I had a tape. The tape, I'm not kidding, was titled Self-Hypnosis for Weight Loss. And I don't know if you noticed.
It clearly works.
No, it was actually very soothing and very, very affirming. It was actually a really nice tape. I listened to it for way longer than I thought I was going to listen to.
Oh my God, I'm 30 minutes into this.
Yeah, no, it was all about love. It was really beautiful, actually.
That's really awesome, man. I'm glad you found love in a hopeless place, man.
Yeah, truly. But yeah, that was. It really, it is all about just feeling something.
Yeah. Absolutely. So who are branching off of that? Who are some of your inspirations when it comes to artists right now? I mean, I know you mentioned some of the older emo style music, but other artists currently that you listen to a lot.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, like I said, like I think like female fronted pop is like some of where the best creation and like production is coming, and like a lot of those people that whole scene is just like so fantastic. When I was writing like a lot of the songs that are out now, like I was obsessed with like Sigrid, who's like a singer out of Norway, or like it's very similar to like Tovolo, or like similar directionally to like Tovolo, like Jess Glenn, who is like a UK, huge in the UK as a pop star, and then kind of like more domestically, people like Elio, who are producing. She's a producer. She produces with like Charlie XCX and kind of like some of the dirty hit people like No Rome, and her production is just so fun, but also so emotive, and just they're such powerful singers. Like I work so hard to work my like vocal range closer to that area, and I write songs that are so hard to perform live because like I just want. There's something about that range that just resonates in a more powerful way than I think. A lot of like male voices hit, and so that is huge for me. And then just like a lot like. I love listening to like my friends' music and things like that. Like I'm super lucky to kind of live within 10 minutes of like some of my favorite musicians.
If you want to plug anyone right now, you're more than welcome to.
Oh my god, sure. Yeah, no. I mean, like a lot of my stuff has been produced by lately Grayson from the band Spooky Mansion, which is just like this amazing kind of surf rock, indie rock band. That he produces. His influences all over First Time, and some of the new stuff that's about to come out are fantastic. I really love this band Blush that I've actually been in. It's my friend Shab, and it was also produced by Grayson from Spooky Mansion. And then I have another friend, Kevin, who fronts this band called the band Ice Cream, and it's this like punk band out of San Francisco, like punk directional band out of San Francisco that now they're based half in LA. Just like a wide range of like indie rock people that are super fun.
I grew up a punk emo straight edge kid, so you're speaking my language. Every time you say punk, I'm like my ears perk up. I'm like, I love this, man.
Yeah, no, it's led to a lot of fun shows in LA and just like a great time.
One of the things that actually, beyond just your music, but one of the things that really sold me on you is you did a cover of Bad Rabbits on your one of your Instagram reels, and I got so hyped up because one of my top 5 favorite bands of all time. So that got me really stoked.
No, they're so I saw them in like 2010 at the House of Blues in Anaheim, and I bought a CD, and it was like I put it in my car, and that was one of the like 3 CDs I listened to all of high school.
The perfect blend of R&B and punk and
it's
rock.
So good.
It's one of the best.
That album is so good.
What's next for Luke Collins? Like, what should people look out for?
Yeah, I'll be around LA a lot. I'll hopefully be if you're around there, like look out for a show. Hopefully in the May April time frame, playing some bigger shows around Los Angeles. Releasing some music before then, releasing some more pop stuff, and in the studio right now recording some more like some rockier, folkier stuff. There's like a straight up country song on this new thing that we're doing.
Beautiful.
It still feels connected, but yes, it's definitely an evolution of sound and process.
Heck yeah. Well, I'm really stoked for you, man, and I appreciate you being here. And we'll obviously keep our eyes and ears open for the new music and for your shows. But I think today you wanted to perform a couple of songs. Are you still up for that?
I'm down. Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Perfect. Hey, I'm Luke Collins. This is my song called Last Time, and I'm doing it here for the Newsic Discovery Sessions, still live from a backyard in Long Beach. and playing the movies at home. We were so happy alone. Chairs on the roof, listening too close in the sun. Oh, I could get used to this love, 'cause when you're new to it, love, you don't second guess it, never know what could go wrong. Sleeping on the couch now, rather go to bed than say that when you're not around. Better, I hate to say, let's make this the last time. We did everything we could to just get by. Don't know what we tried for, 'cause it hurts more when we turn right back. Oh, make this the last time. Promise me we'll leave it in the past this time. Don't know what we tried for, 'cause it hurts more when we turn right back. Like we're immortal but numb. Why can't we break it off? Done. Is this our forever, or just something that we've become? Oh, I crashed your very first show. You were my very first song. Driving to Stinson, but nobody's singing along. And we're sleeping on the couch now. Rather go to bed than say that when you're not around. That I hate to say, oh, make this the last time. We did everything we could to just get by. Don't know what we tried for, 'cause it hurts more when we turn right back. Yeah, make this the last time. Promise me we'll leave it in the past this time. Don't know what we try for, 'cause it hurts more when we turn right back. Forever, just something that we've become. Yeah, make this the last time. We did everything we could to just get by. Don't know what we try for, 'cause it hurts more when we turn right back. Oh, make this the last time. Promise me we'll leave it in the past this time. Don't know what we try for, 'cause it hurts more when we turn right back. Sitting in your front seat, driving home from Phoebe's. Didn't know you would have kissed me, so I just said goodnight. And in the moment that felt alright, 'cause I thought that I would have another chance. And the text from later that night that I sent at 2 a.m. said some shit about the food I made. Should've said I want you here with me, oh. But now she's in Vancouver. Feels like I might lose her before I really knew her. It's harder than it might seem to never say what we mean, but you're my favorite daydream. honest, I didn't think there would be more. I'd drive around for hours, but I never landed on your door. So I just went back home, and in the moment that felt lonesome, 'cause I thought that I had missed my only chance. When I called you later that night, before I got onto that plane, said we'd talk it out in 2 more weeks. That was back when I was 17. Oh, now she's in Vancouver. Feels like I might lose her before I really knew her. It's harder than it might seem to never say what we mean. You're my favorite daydream, all I wanna do, yeah. Can't quite see it through, yeah. What's it even for? To leave you one more. All I wanna do, yeah. All I want is you, yeah. Got me feeling ooh. Now she's in Vancouver. Feels like I might lose her before I really knew her. It's harder than it might seem to never say what we mean. You're my favorite daydream. Oh.